from the people. Sahara cover my seas. Sahara.
Welcome back to Sahara TV. My name is Rudolph Okonkwo. We have, over the past few weeks, discussed the presidential election in Nigeria. We've talked about the governorship election that took place last week. We've said very little about the election to the National Assembly. For instance, in the Senate, about 76 senators were sent packing, and new people are going into the Senate, and they will be the lawmakers that will work for Nigeria and make laws in what is known as the 7th National Assembly. Now, joining us to discuss what is facing the Senate is a senator-elect for Kaduna Central, Senator Shehu Sani. Mr. Shehu Sani, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you.
Let me start by saying, how do you feel being a senator-elect, knowing that you were on the sidelines, so to say, for so many years, fighting in the human rights and civil rights community? Now you are going to be part of the lawmakers of the country. How do you feel about that?
Well, in the 90s and the 80s, we dedicated ourselves to the fight against military dictatorship. On the street, we conscientized and mobilized Nigerians to say no to military rule. Many of us were arrested and jailed. I went to prison and I was jailed, and I spent over 4.5 years, and I was released in 1998. Now, the mistake we made in 1999 is that most of us refused to join the political train. We never thought it was going to last. In fact, Chief Ganifa Wehmi was the one who advised that we shouldn't join, because he doesn't think that it was going to last, and we did, but it was a big mistake. And now it took me 16 years to now win a Senate, which I contested and lost in both 2003 and also 2011. So it was
all right, I think we lost connection with Comrade Shehu Sani. We will try to get him back, and we will ask him questions about the state of the country. What is it that he could do to put Nigeria on the right path, especially when we know that his party, the APC, they have control of the Senate and the House of Representatives. They have the presidency in their bag, so we want to see what they are going to do. Okay, Comrade Shehu Sani, go ahead. Sorry for that.
It was a thing of joy to see that this time around I was able to win the elections. But it was also a mandate given to us that is full of responsibilities and expectations, going by the fact that in the last 16 years, the successive governments we have had in the past were not able to address the basic issues of challenges politically, socially, and economically. And the country was ruined and was looted. There is nothing that was left as a foundation for anybody to build upon. We only will inherit a debt and a looted treasury and a people that have been disappointed and disenchanted. So we are delighted we are elected, but the challenges ahead will prove our worth and the value to which we are elected into office.
Now, you mentioned the challenges. Also, we know that the expectations are enormous. People expect the APC, that is in control of the Senate and the House of Rep and the presidency, to perform. What is your number one priority going into the Senate?
I think my priority should be the same priority with all that have been elected into office at this very time. And that is, first and foremost, we have to tell Nigerians the truth about what became of their country in the last 16 years. We have to let them know what we are meeting. We have to let them know what is in the account. We have to let them know the debt that have been piled. We have to let them know that the future is about confronting challenges. That is first and foremost. And then secondly, we then have to know how to address the issue of falling revenue. The price of oil in the international market now is below $43 per barrel, and that is a source of income for our country. And how can we raise revenue to prosecute all those promises which we have made to the electorate? These are issues that we have to address. But as a person and as an elected senator, I have 3 or 4 issues at hand. And these are basic issues that affect the life of my people in my senatorial zone. First is education. And second has to do with the issue of how can we revive our industries that have been comatose in the northern part of the country for a very long time. And then I have issues on empowerment and on health. But most importantly, a senator is sent to the Senate to perform oversight function and to hold the executive accountable for constitutional duties which they have sworn to prosecute. So I believe that what is most important to us now is to restore the Senate back to its constitutional responsibility and duties. In the last 16 years, the Senate has portrayed an image of a boring and sleepy theater of political choristers, pensioners, and also as refuge for ex-governors. Now, this must change. We must restore the Senate back to its place of honor and glory by doing what it's supposed to do as a parliament, and that is perform oversight function, and then hold the government to account, and also ensuring that the budget is all prosecuted to the last. These are issues that are missing in the last Senate in the last 16 years. Despite the APC being the majority in the Senate, it is not going to be a David Marquis kind of Senate where the ayes will always have it. People, whatever bill is going to be passed in the Senate must be passed on the ground of its own merit, and not because you are from the APC and there's an APC president. And whatever is brought to you, simply have to stamp and say, you can carry go. It's supposed not to be so.
Now, behind all the crisis in Nigeria are what they call structural flaws within the Nigerian constitution. And you notice that the constitution was something that Nigeria inherited from the military. And there have been efforts in the past to amend the constitution which failed. Is the APC going to amend the constitution? Because some of these issues you mentioned, once you want to tackle it, you will see the constitutional problems that will stop the efforts to tackle some of them.
Yeah, constitutional amendment is inevitable. There are things which the government cannot do because they have been hindered by constitutional provisions. And there are also issues that affect our country that are clearly directed at constitutional encumbrance that have made it impossible for such things to move forward. So for anyone who means well to this country, must know that issue of constitutional amendment should be of major priority. For example, now, our local government system, as it exists in the 1999 Constitution, simply exists as a department of the state government. Most of the resources that ought to be used at the local government level for the development of local governments and the people at that very level were simply appropriated and stolen by state governors. These have to change. We need to amend the Constitution to also make state assemblies independent, and also to give them the autonomy, financial autonomy, for them to be out of the stranglehold of state governors. There are so many issues like this that need to seriously be tackled. The Nigerian state itself needs a renewed constitution that will meet up to the challenges that have been faced in post-1999.
Now, let me ask you, will APC reconsider or review the recommendations of the National Conference that we spent 11 billion naira to constitute and to handle and to establish? Is your party or you in the Senate, will you push for a review of those recommendations and probably the adoption of some of them? Are you going to start a new process of amending the Constitution?
Well, this will be for the party to decide what it wants to do with that very document. When President Goodluck Jonathan inaugurated the Constitutional Conference, I condemned it, and I told those women who tried to push my name to represent the civil society, I told them I'm not going to be part of it. And then other people from the APC also made statements. But surprisingly to me, the governors of our parties end up sending nominations to take part in the in that confab. Now, how will they have sent nominations to a confab and then throw it out? My personal opinion is that if Jonathan is going out of the villa, he should not forget to go along with the recommendations of that confab. It should be part of the loads that will be taken to his own vehicle as he goes out. But the party, I believe, may not think this way. To me, Nigeria's problem is not simply about what was written in the confab. If you check the confab report, there was nothing that is new. That is different from all other confabs that have been, that were held in Nigeria in the past. So I think what is most important is for us to simply study the reports of all those confabs in the past, not even that of Jonathan, and then make amendments, and then we can move forward. All right. 4 years is like 4 days. Within the next few months, you will see people will start thinking of 2019, and the earlier we do these things, the better. Yes.
We're running out of time. Let me rush and get your opinion on this. Boko Haram, in the past, you've talked about negotiation as a way to achieve peace with Boko Haram. Now, the president-elect and the leader of your party, Buhari, General Buhari, has said that he does not believe in negotiation. Do you still believe in negotiation, and will you convince him that it's a way to end the Boko Haram problem in Nigeria?
Well, there are two ways to which you can confront this Boko Haram. The first is to use force, the Nigerian army moving in to crush and eradicate them. And the second is to choose for the option of dialogue. But I was for dialogue in the sense that I simply wanted to explore that option to see how we can achieve some things. And one of which was, how can we use dialogue to get the Chibok girls and other hostages out of the camps of Boko Haram? And that became so impossible, inevitable, because you can't raid a camp that has these young girls and young men and hostages and not end up in a very bad with a very bad result. So that is why people like us were saying that explore that very option. But if the president-elect has said he is for the use of force, we then have to be prepared for it, because to use force to eradicate such a terror group, it is what is supposed to be done in the beginning. But our army must be well equipped, must be well funded, and must be on a high morale to be able to address such issues. And it is simply not about, I want to use force. It is about getting those that will be in the field ready, also making sure that their families are all prepared for all these things here.
Now, there is a major issue that Nigerians have been confronted with, which is the amount of money we pay public officials, people elected to public offices, and you are going to be one of them soon. Are we going to know as a people how much these people are actually paid? And will you and all the members of the APC work to make sure that this payment is reduced to something reasonable, something that Nigerians can live with? Are you not worried that senators are making more money than the President of the United States?
I think this time around, with the new government that will take over on 29th of May, we need to begin by telling ourselves the truth. And the truth is that we don't have as much money as we used to have. And there is a need for sacrifices in all sectors, and everyone must make sacrifices from the president downwards. If senators or parliamentarians are paid 100 million naira when the price of crude oil is $150 to a barrel, we now have to adjust it to the reality that we have today, and to the fact that if you don't do that, then who else will sacrifice? If those that are elected in a leading position aren't going to sacrifice their payments and their allowances, then who else is going to sacrifice? Patriotism shouldn't be simply for the poor and the downtrodden. People in the position of leadership must make sacrifice to lay an example. The payments made to legislatures must be made public and for people to know, and it is what I intended to do. If I am given a 10,000 naira constituency allowance, I intended bringing it on the table for all my electorate to come and say, this is what I was given. And I know there are three kinds of funds given: one for your staffs in the office, the second for your own salary, and the third for the constituency. So I believe these are all issues that need to be made public so that people should know what those people they elected into office are actually earning.
Okay, one last question. You'll be going to the Senate and you have your ideas and ideals of what to accomplish, but also you have to deal with the kind of people that will share that Senate chambers with you. And you mentioned at the beginning that you used to be former governors. You still have to deal with so many of those former governors, like Governor Theodore Orji is coming to the Senate. You have people like Stella Odua coming to the Senate with you. And also you have someone like Mr. Kashamu, who was indicted in the U.S. for drug-related offenses. How does that make you feel, joining that group of people in the Senate? And does that concern you in terms of the ideals that you've been articulating?
Funny enough, all the names you mentioned are from the PDP. They represent perhaps the old order. And with a majority in the Senate, the APC will ensure decorum and discipline, and also will ensure that the Senate is truly an independent organ of the democracy and of the state. We are going to make our views known and publicly to all Nigerians, and the position of the party will reflect the interests, the aspirations, the views and dreams of all Nigerians. And we will run a Senate that is truly reflective of the principles, ideals, and ideas of democracy. The difference we are going to make is to really ensure that whatever is brought to the Senate is treated on its own merit, not because the president wants it to be so and it must be so.
All right, Comrade Shehu Sani, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, when we come back, we are going to talk to the candidate for governorship election in Abia State that is yet to be decided. His name is Dr. Okezie Ibazo, so stay tuned.